Found my wife's notebook detailing how she'd leave me for another man. I turned it into one step. I always thought our marriage was solid. Not perfect, but strong. We had routines, inside jokes, date nights when we could fit them in. We'd been together for 9 years, married for 6. I never thought I had anything to worry about, until I found the notebook. It started on an average Saturday. My wife, Jenna, was out with her friends for brunch, and I was finally getting around to organizing the master bedroom closet, a task I had been putting off for months. I was moving old storage boxes around when something caught my eye. In the very back, wedged behind a row of winter coats, was a small black leather notebook. It wasn't mine. I pulled it out, flipped it open, and the moment my eyes landed on the first page, my entire world shifted. 10-step plan for leaving Mark and making sure I don't lose anything in the process. Mark, that's me in case you didn't know. At first I thought it was a joke. Maybe some old scribblings from a bad fight we had years ago. But as I read through the list, the pit in my stomach grew deeper. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't old. It was dated 2 months ago, and it was thorough. Step 1. Emotionally distance myself. Stop initiating affection, but don't refuse it completely. Let him notice, but not enough to start a serious fight. I thought back to the past few months. The decline in intimacy, the way she seemed tired more often, the fact that I was always the one to kiss her first, hold her hand, pull her close. She wasn't tired. She was executing a plan. Step 2. Strengthen my finances. Move more of my paycheck into my personal account. If he asks, say it's for bills. Start saving for an apartment deposit. The bank account. I had noticed small changes. Less money going into our joint savings. Jenna always had a reason. She was paying off a credit card, buying things for the house, helping a friend with an emergency. I trusted her. I was an idiot. Step 3. Reconnect with old friends, aka Ben. Make it seem casual. If Mark notices, play it off. Get Ben comfortable with the idea of me leaving. Lay groundwork. Ben. A name I had never paid much attention to. Some guy from her past she reconnected with on Facebook. She mentioned him in passing a few times, always framed as an old acquaintance. I flipped through more pages and there he was, popping up over and over. Lunches, drinks, casual meetups. Ben wasn't an old friend. He was her escape plan. Step 4. Make Mark the problem. Pick fights but never start them. Make him feel like he's not enough. Subtly push him toward pulling away first. That one hit me like a punch to the gut. We had been arguing more lately. But now I saw the pattern. Her baiting me, her twisting my words, making me feel like I was overreacting. This wasn't natural distance. It was calculated. Step 5. Test living without him. Go on a girls' trip. See if I miss him. See if I feel free. That trip she took 3 weeks ago. The one she came back from acting different. She had been testing if life without me was better. Step 6. Get a new apartment before the breakup. Make it seem like it's for work or needing more space. Avoid talking about it too much. She had mentioned looking at apartments just for fun last week. I thought nothing of it. I should have. Step 7. Have Ben ready. Make sure he's all in. Set expectations with slow transition. My stomach turned. This wasn't just a plan to leave me. It was a plan to replace me. Step 8. Make him the bad guy. Have examples ready of why I left. Play the victim with friends and family. So that's why she had been exaggerating our fights to her friends, planting seeds. Step 9. The breakup. Make it seem mutual if possible. If not, make him seem like he's changed. The manipulation, the gaslighting. It was all leading up to this. Step 10. The clean break. No looking back. Make sure finances, apartment, and Ben are set before cutting him off. She had it all mapped out. Every detail, every lie. But she made one mistake. She left the notebook where I could find it. By the time Jenna came home that evening, I had already taken care of everything. I packed a bag, took my important documents, made a call to a lawyer, transferred my half of our savings into a new account, froze our joint credit card. When she walked in, I was sitting on the couch holding the notebook. Her eyes widened. Mark, what? I held it up. Watched her face drain of color. This was your plan? I said calmly. She opened her mouth, closed it, swallowed. It's not what it looks like. I laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, it looks like a 10-step plan on how to leave me for another guy while making me look like the problem. She stammered. I didn't mean. I stood up, grabbed my bag. Don't bother. She reached for me, but I stepped back. You wanted a clean break, Jenna? Congratulations, you got it. I'm just skipping the rest of your steps. Her lip trembled. What are you talking about? I turned for the door. I turned your 10 steps into one, and I walked out. I haven't looked back. She has called, texted, and begged, but I'm done. The funniest thing about it is that I heard that Ben ran for the hills himself. Turns out, he liked the chase more than the catch. Now she is alone, wondering how everything fell apart so fast. She planned 10 steps. I only needed one, and I don't regret a damn thing. Update. I thought I was done. Thought I had walked away from the mess Jenna created, head held high, no looking back. But some people only learn the hard way. 3 months after I left, she showed up at my door. Hair a mess, eyes puffy, gripping a notebook to her chest like it held the cure for her mistakes. I wrote everything down, she whispered. Everything I want to say. Please, just listen. I should have slammed the door. Instead, I let her in, because I had an idea. She started sobbing about how she'd ruined everything, how Ben ditched her weeks after I left, how her friends weren't so eager to pick up the pieces. Then the excuses started. It was just a safety net, she said, voice trembling. I was never actually going to leave you. I laughed. You don't make a step-by-step plan if you don't actually intend to leave, Jenna. You had 2 months to throw that notebook away, but you didn't. You kept it, like a roadmap. She reached for my hand. I pulled away. I don't trust you, and I don't owe you anything. Cue the waterworks. But I love you. I miss you. Can't we at least try therapy? I sighed. You want therapy? Go by yourself. I'm done. She blinked at me, like she was just now realizing how badly she miscalculated. I stood, walked to the door, and opened it. Goodbye, Jenna. She hesitated. But then she stepped out. And this is where I decided that I was going to give her a final lesson in consequences. Jenna had never transferred the lease over to her name like I told her to. The apartment was still legally half mine, but I wasn't about to deal with her any longer than I had to. So I bought out my share and had my name removed from the lease entirely, which meant the landlord, who wasn't exactly Jenna's biggest fan, took a hard look at her financials. Turns out she didn't qualify for the apartment on her income alone, and since I wasn't there to cover the gap anymore, the landlord gave her 2 months to either find a suitable co-signer or move out. She called me, voice shaking with rage. You did this on purpose. No, Jenna, I said, calm as ever. I just made sure you got exactly what you wanted, freedom. Then came the next blow. The car is still in my name. She had been making payments, but technically, I was the owner. So I did what any rational person would do. I sold it, not to be spiteful, but because I wasn't about to leave my name tied to anything of hers, especially not when she had a habit of forgetting responsibilities when it suited her. To the meltdown. How could you do this to me? She screamed over the phone. How could you do this to me? I countered. I'm not your safety net, Jenna. You lost that when you made a plan to replace me. And the utilities? Well, since they were in my name and she had never transferred them over, I shut them off. Not maliciously, I gave her a full week's notice. But when that date hit, the lights, water, and internet? Gone. She had no backup, no way to finesse her way out of this. Jenna wanted a step-by-step plan to leave me, and I just gave her 1 step straight to rock bottom.